Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Knick family. Welcome to the Recap and Reaction Show. The Knicks lost last night. What was that? 104 to 115 in Minnesota without Brunson, without OG Anunoby, and without some Yabusele, some other players as well. Kolek gets his first career start. Karl Anthony Towns drops 40 on his former team. A lot to talk about. The Knicks have lost 2 out of their last 3. I hope Knick fans aren't panicking. I'm not. Context matters, as Geoff told me before we hopped on. But anyway, I'm joined by my host, Jeff Klafter of the Happily Ever Klafter Daily Sports Blog, also resident panelist on the weekly show. Jeff, how are you?
Man, it was one of those games last night that's weird because I didn't really expect, with being so shorthanded, you're like, well, it'd be nice to steal a win, but you kind of expected to get beat, especially since we kind of beat up on them at MSG earlier this season. I think we put a hurting on them in that game. So I kind of expected, with Anthony Edwards at full strength, that they were going to be a difficult task for us last night. But I actually thought the Knicks had their chances in the game. There were a couple of moments. I mean, we were down 3 at the end of the third quarter, and was it Jalen Carter? I forget. Somebody hit a big 3 with 1 second left that put the lead back to 6, and then Naz Reid scored the first bucket of the fourth quarter that pushed it to 9, and that kind of seemed like the cushion that they needed. But even then, you had Gobert shove Hart in the back with the non-call, and then he comes back and gets the technical, which is 2 shots and the ball, which kind of was the final nail in the coffin, I guess, on the proceedings. But last night I think the key to me was the turnovers. Like same with the Philadelphia game. We turned the ball over, I think, 19 times. And Towns turned the ball over 5 times, which is the only blemish on an otherwise outstanding night. Josh Hart had 6 turnovers, which, that I think hurts you the most. And he didn't make a lot of shots, but he also led the team in rebounds, and he tied for the team lead in assists. So it's tough to kind of, it just
a mixed bag. It was a mixed bag with him.
And so I think that I think that's the story of the night, though. For the Play the Kids crowd, this was your opportunity, right? You got to see more DOR minutes, more Huck Porty minutes, more Daddy A minutes. And personally, I didn't really care for what I saw in those minutes from those particular players. I thought that our bench really hurt us in this game. Jordan Clarkson was okay. But other than that, it was pretty much persona non grata from everybody else who was brought in the game. And that's, and that happens. I mean, that's kind of what you expect. And that's kind of the point that we've been making, is that, can we trust these guys in a playoff game? And, you give them an increased responsibility, even in a regular season game. And the results are not what you would hope. So, I think that kind of speaks to why the importance of having veterans on that bench is so vital, and it's something that we missed last night, in my opinion.
Yeah. Where to start? I mean, one, just to reiterate what we talked about on the weekly show, and that is the organization going in a different direction. And maybe this is a direction they always wanted to go in and just couldn't get in lockstep, with Thibodeau. And that is resting guys and understanding that you might win, but chances are you might take the loss, and that's okay early in the season, right? Brunson, OG Anunoby, I'm not sure how really hurt they were. Sounds to me like more of a load management game. And to your point, I was hopeful we would be able to win, but this is a team that's 7th in defensive rating. They may have even moved up since the last time, I looked at the stats. Obviously Julius Randle, they got good players, on that team. They got good players coming off the bench. They're playing at home. They had a big win recently over OKC, and they talked about putting out the same effort no matter who the team is. Like that's something that they're really focusing on. And so I was hopeful. I was hopeful. And to your point, Jeff, I thought we did do a really good job through three. Through three. We'll talk more in depth. I thought Kolek was really good. It wasn't his most efficient game. I think he had 20 points on 22 shots. But for somebody who's, this is their first career start on a championship contending team, I think he did well, for himself. Was he perfect? No, but he did well for himself last night. Kudos to him. I think I have to echo what JJ is saying in the chat, that I did want Mikal Bridges to be a bit more aggressive. Did he have those opportunities though, with Cat dropping, 40? Cat took 24 shots. Kolek took 22 shots. Bridges 16. Did they take those shots because Bridges wasn't being aggressive? I don't know. I don't know, but we got 40 points from Karl Anthony Towns, and I know some people will say, those were empty points. I read an article, they were empty points or so like yeah, beyond me. He did foul out. That's something you don't want to see when you have it rolling, and you're that guy in a particular game. You got to do your best to stay on the floor, and this is a recurrent issue with Karl Anthony Towns, and he gets a bad whistle too. Not necessarily that the fouls aren't fouls. He just doesn't get that same whistle in return last night. I didn't think going in he would have a good game, Jeff, because I figured that they're going to crowd him. He's not going to have the space. He's missing 2 gravity guys. He might be more of a passer and what have you, but you got a chance to see him in his full repertoire offensively last night. But again, he, fouled out, did have 13 rebounds, 5 turnovers. To your point, there were only 2 guys on the team who were positive plus minus, and that was Towns and Bridges. Those were the only 2 who were positive plus minus last night. But that's the game overall. Let's dive a little deeper, and where do you want to start?
Let's start with Kolek. I mean, first ever start, stuffed the stat sheet. The double-digit rebounds was definitely a surprise.
Absolutely.
Excellent assist to turnover ratio, but I kind of feel like the stats are inflated compared to his performance, just in my opinion. I didn't think he was that good. And I guess my thing is this: I like his aggressiveness, but I don't think that we're at our best with Kolek taking 22 shots. And maybe it was just a case of nobody else was willing to. Bridges struggled from outside. He was 1 for 6 from beyond the arc, but I tend to think that I think 22 shots from Kolek kind of lends into advantage Minnesota there. I think if you're going to be the point guard and distribute, because he's not Jalen Brunson, right? He doesn't get to the foul line. I don't think he even got a single free throw. And so I'm not sure that if you're running the point and you're leading the offense, like calling your own number that frequently when you're not having a great shooting night. And he was better in the second half. I think he made 5 of his last 10 shots. So you do have to give him credit for that. But 22 shots is a lot for him to take. And I applaud the aggressiveness. So from that standpoint, but I kind of think that from a running the team standpoint, that may not have been the best route and path to get us a win.
Just kind of getting more people involved, perhaps, what you're saying.
Yeah,
I would have to, I would have to look at it again. Like, were these like open looks? Like, was he pushing the envelope? Or was the ball spreading around and kind of coming back to him? I was a little drowsy last night, you know, and I didn't get a chance to go back and like really, look at every single play. But for those who did watch every possession, which I usually do, let me know if you felt Kolek was searching for his shots and being maybe a bit too much aggressive. Because there are times like when Diawara comes into the game, I'd be like, all right, he's doing a bit too much. But somebody else may feel like, there you go, young fella, be aggressive. Go out there and take the shot you're supposed to take, you know? So was Kolek doing a bit too much offensively, or do you feel like he was forcing it maybe, or he was, getting it in the in the flow of the game? Listen, I think more than anything, what I'm getting from watching Kolek is he can get the ball up the court against pressure. Like I'm looking at these, like small things. He can get into the key against other NBA defenders. And okay, he may need a screen or so, but he's able to get into the lane. He can hit an open shot and he's confident taking. So I'm looking at these little like individual things and I like what he see. And obviously we already knew about his passing skill. He had that coming in. He just, he gets good looks, for the team. But his defense, his ability to get into the lane and his shot making has been impressive.
3 steals last night.
And 3 steals last night. And the rebounding, 11 rebounds, 10 of them defensive, only 2 turnovers, right? To 8 assists to your point. I like what I'm seeing from Kolek.
He looks like an NBA rotation guard. Like that's just all there is to it. And that's the important thing, right? He looks like he belongs on the court. Obviously he's not Jalen Brunson. Those are big sneakers to fill and not ones that he can fill by himself, even on his best day, right? It's one of those things where I think if we were going to beat the T-Wolves, we kind of needed to be the best version of ourselves in all aspects. And Josh Hart kind of had a subpar game, and Mikal Bridges kind of had a subpar game, and Mitchell Robinson was way subpar in my opinion. And so instead you needed everybody to kind of be at their upper best of what they can do. And we kind of had 3 guys who didn't really bring that. And when you do that, you're going to come up short, but we're still in the game. I mean, despite all that. And so we fought hard, and I don't take moral victories. A loss is a loss. They all sting to me. But, I think you learned a lot about your team in this game. And I think that's important throughout the course of a season. Like you kind of know that, okay. And the more I think about it too, is who else was going to take those shots, because Josh Hart isn't going to shoot, right? And he wasn't having a good night anyway. Bridges had 16 shots and made 7. So I guess from inside the arc, he was pretty good. Towns led the team in shots, but who else is on the Clarkson, I guess, would be the only other guy that I would be like, yeah, but I think he shot 12 times and was low percentage except from 3. So
3 of 11, yeah.
So, do we want tons of Diawara and Daddier shots? Like, I don't know. So he was aggressive and he took a lot of shots, but I guess the more that I think about it, he probably had to, just given the players around him. Like, I guess if you want to argue that we should have just funneled the ball to Cat more because he was on a heater, that's fine. But I think what you'll find is Towns has even said himself, he doesn't want to be the 60-point guy in a loss, right? He wants to make sure that other people are getting the ball and that we win the game. Obviously we didn't win the game, but he still played 40 minutes, I believe, and was +8. So that leads me to believe the double big lineup not really working for us right now for whatever reason.
Who was this? I'm sorry.
Towns.
I was in the chat.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, Towns played 30. No, who did you say played 40?
Oh, he didn't play 40. How many minutes did Towns play?
34 and a half.
34 and a half.
Because of he was +6 to your point. Him and Bridges was the only ones who was in the plus. But I think it was he was in foul trouble. Yeah. He was in foul trouble. And Mike Brown commented on that you know, in the press conference. Like, I don't know if he wanted to. One thing I appreciate about Mike Brown is how he words it. It's like, you know, they told you if you're going to criticize somebody, do the sandwich method, compliment, criticize, compliment. And I feel like he does that a lot. But he was upset. He said Cat obviously can score. He just has to continue to try to not pick up cheap fouls. Now we have to sit him when he needs to be on the floor. 40 and 13 doesn't surprise me at all, but if you're going to be a great player, we expect more from him. I'm sure he does too. So that's like a real, like, well said, nicely said way of, if you want to be great, we know you're talented, but if you want to be great, you gotta be on the floor. You gotta be smarter. That's what I took. You know, that's what I took from.
And he kind of did the
from
same thing to Kolek. If you listen to his comments about Kolek's performance, he kind of had a similar. They had a similar vibe to them, I thought. So
I didn't hear the Kolek. The Kolek.
You know, it was pretty similar. It was like, yeah, he did some good things, but he has to be better. You know, with shot selection and you know, and those sorts of things, and controlling the game, and you know, and so good on Mike Brown for you know saying the right things, and you know, he's a good coach. Like I don't, you know, I don't. He's different than Tom Thibodeau in a lot of ways because they're different people, but in a lot of ways they're the same. Like they bring that baseline of competence. They want their teams to play defense. They want to spread the ball. They want to, you know, there's a lot of similarities in their archetype, if you will. And so, you know, I don't see just a ton of difference. Like, you know, one guy plays more players than the other. Okay. But I don't. You know, I just think that he's a good coach, and this team is still kind of figuring out how to win. And you know, last night we shorthanded, and it came back to bite us.
Yeah. Mike Brown is everything I thought he would be, and everything I wanted him to be. I say this all the time. Like he's different from Thibodeau in the ways I wanted him to be different. And that's schematically, you know, offensive, defense, and in terms of lineups, like that's what I was really looking for in whoever the coach was. And I think Mike Brown brings that. The other stuff people are highlighting is just not that important to me, but the schemes and the rotations are. And you know, obviously, we're not going to know much about Mike Brown or this team until we get back into the playoffs, and we can see that, you know, up close and personal. But listen, Mike Brown, like any other coach, they're not looking at they're not box score watching. Like they're not going and like, oh, 40 points, 13 rebounds, oh, a near triple double. Oh, this is just great. Like they're looking at the game within the game. Like to your point, how did he control the game? Did he take good shots? Did he get other people involved? Cat had 40 points and 13. Were they good shots? You know, where did he get those shots? Were there times when he forced it and maybe he could have passed it for an easier shot? Like the coaches are looking at other things. But, you know, all of that being said, you still need counting. You still need counting stats to win, right? And both of those guys got those for us. Feeling better, Geoff, about Kolek staying in the lineup once
he continues to impress. Like you have to go based on how he's playing right now, not how he was playing before or how you think or hope he's going to play. Right? He's doing a good job. Like I said, he's a rotation level guard in this league right now, and he's someone you can play alongside Brunson and not just behind him. Right? The two smalls. Lineup, whether it be Kolek or McBride or Clarkson, whoever it might be, has worked well for us. Like the lineup data has shown that it's, you know, we have this vision that we have to be, you know, 6'4", 6'5", at the shooting guard, and we have to be 6'8" at the small forward, 6'10" plus at the power forward, 7-footer in the middle. But that's not really the case. When we've played our small lineups, we have been very successful in terms of plus minus, and I think Kolek is a big part of that. He kind of looks like a poor man's Jalen Brunson at times. He had a move in the paint the other night where I was like, he learned that from Jalen. Like, it looked like the footwork and everything was there. And as hard as he works, I'm not really surprised. So, he has to improve his shooting, especially on wide open looks, but he's a work in progress. I mean, he's a 24, 25-year-old kid. And this is his first real stint with significant playing time and minutes, and he's taking advantage of it. But I still kind of wonder, once Deuce is back, if he shrinks behind the shrubberies again and into situational, or if he maintains a spot in the lineup at the expense of somebody else. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't know either, but I don't think he should. Like to me, Shamet could be situational, and only I say Shamet because Deuce is under contract, and he probably has more value, and the Knicks probably value him more, and Shamet is on a 1-year contract, right? So you would think that Deuce would be the one to get the minutes. Now Brown is on some other stuff. Remember, right? There was times when Shamet would get more minutes than Brown. Shamet would get starts over Brown. Over McBride. But I think Kolek, for years to come, you should groom him. I think you should groom him. I think you should continue to give him minutes. Now, this is aside from my playoff take, which is very, very different than having a young guy in your rotation who's getting consistent minutes because you think down the line they're going to be that permanent whatever, starting player, backup player, whatever, but you're just giving them consistent minutes, get their feet wet so they can continue to get better and better and better. I'm all for that. I'm not against that at all. And so if it was me, I would be a proponent of Shamet being situational and Kolek getting these minutes. And Shamet is a professional. If you have to pull him out in the playoffs, he'll be ready. He'll be ready. That still doesn't change the Knicks getting having yet another ball handler on this team for playoff times. Doesn't change that for me. But with those two coming back, I mean, unless there's a trade, which I don't see Deuce being in a trade, I don't think Shamet would have value in a trade to me. Like, you could just pick him up in free agency at the end of the season. We'll see. We'll see. But Kolek's play has really forced Mike Brown's hand in terms of making a decision, or maybe he extends it to 10.
But I also think Shamet's going to be out considerable amount of time. Like, I don't expect him back in the near future. So I think
okay. Then it's not
that's
even an issue.
But he re-injured that shoulder. I'm kind of curious as to the severity of they're not really forthcoming on that stuff. But McBride's was an ankle sprain. Like, I expect him back soon. Like, even a high ankle sprain is probably not more than a 4 to 6 week injury. And I feel like we're at least on 3 with Deuce, right? I mean, it feels like he's been out for a while now, but maybe it's just going slower than I think it should. But, I expect Deuce back sooner than Shamet for sure. And, and Kolek brings different things to the table than those two guys, right? He's a different animal in terms of play style and everything else. So maybe it just depends upon matchups and what we need in the given moment, right? Like, if you need someone who's more of a playmaker, that's not something either one of those guys really do on a consistent basis anyway. Deuce kind of secondary playmaker, on occasion, but I'm not real sure that's a role you want him in, as opposed to Kolek, who can always set up guys. I mean, he had 8 assists last night. He did a really good job getting the ball in the shooting pocket as he usually does. And so, kudos to him. I really am encouraged by that. And look, the more players you have step up and play above their station, the better off you are.
As a team. Let's get some of the chat, because I think I think us commenting on what they're saying will really take care of the rest of the players that we
I
would
agree.
have talked about. Salute to Wayne Peterson. Appreciate you joining us. Kareem Grant, my brother. Appreciate you. Jerrell, always in the house supporting Knick Nation. Appreciate you. Absolutely. Hit the like button. Coming in. Let me see if I can move my camera up a little so when we get to these comments. Oh boy. I ain't mean to come right at you like that. What's going on? What's that?
That's all right.
Oh, I just tried to. Okay, let's bring it back a little bit. All right.
You look like you're on a chair that rolls.
All right. Shout out to Walter White, Wayne Peterson. Kolek proved to me that he is our legit backup point guard. Yeah. He's definitely showing that. Shout out to Sherwin joining us. Appreciate you. JJ said Bridges was horrendous. Wow. You're the number 2 option last night, and he had no aggressiveness. Very upsetting. Yeah, I mean,
he took 16 shots. I mean,
he did take 16 shots.
He was third on the team in shots, shot attempts. He didn't shoot the ball well from 3, and he struggled on defense. But again, he's not, you're asking him to be the lead point of attack defender, and that's not really his strong suit, right? And right. He got cooked last night. Like I'm not gonna right. gloss over that. But we didn't have any of our good point of attack defenders in there, right? So I don't know how, I don't know who the solution was that was going to prevent that from happening. I mean, I guess if you have OG back there to help a little bit, he doesn't guard the point of attack either, but he's an excellent help defender. But it's a real that's the thing without Deuce and Shamet, we're really that's a piece of the puzzle that we really are lacking, is having someone who can take on the Ants of the world. And Ant probably can score on those guys too. I mean, he when he's on and he's locked in, he's as good as anybody out there for sure.
Yeah. JJ thinks this game is on Bridges. I don't know if I can say. I don't know if I can put a loss on one player. But I do hear you in the sense of maybe wanting him to step up more in this game. But Towns dropped 40. I mean, somebody stepped up, at least offensively. Julius Randle scored 17 points in the 4th quarter of the win. Yeah, he did. Yeah, and he was like 3 of 9, 3 of 11 coming into that point. Like really wasn't shooting well, and just really turned it on in the 4th quarter. And the Knicks couldn't match it.
When Julius is playing well offensively, though, he's like that. Like he's very difficult to stop when he's, we saw that in New York for years. When he can get on these rolls where you just, because he's so big and he's strong and he's athletic, and if his shot is falling, then I mean, there's not a whole lot you're going to do with him, no matter who you are. Obviously, having OG Anunoby instead of Karl Anthony Towns on him is probably preferred. But even OG, I think Randle can outmuscle him, if he's got it going like he did in the 4th quarter.
For sure. Any regrets? Let me know out there, chat. Any regrets? Towns and Randle last night. Any regrets for the trade? I don't have any regrets, but maybe some of you do. JJ Kolek was worse than his stat line. He was just okay. Okay, so someone else who's not just looking at the stat line, but just looking at, what's happening within the game. Okay. Knick Nation, I appreciate you. Mikel is a great player, but his lack of physicality seems to rear its head at the most unopportune moments. Yeah, like I'm not in the lack of physicality camp. I know that's a big narrative around Mikel Bridges. I do think I would like him to be more Brunson-esque. I think for me, sometimes I feel it's a lack of assertiveness, just kind of going with the flow and allowing, and it could be a good thing too, but sometimes I would like him to be a bit more aggressive, but I'm not in the lack of physicality, camp when it comes to Bridges.
Yeah, Bridges is fine. Like, it wasn't his best game. The thing that was odd about him is 0 steals and blocks. Like, he's been like
for the second game in a row, right?
Yeah, he's been killing those categories of up until recently. So it's kind of wonder if maybe fatigue is setting in on him a little bit. He's a warrior. He plays a ton of minutes, and and they're not going to sit him because he's got that Iron Man streak. But yeah. Maybe if we could, obviously we couldn't last night as shorthanded, but maybe we can get him a game or two where we can cut back his minutes a little bit. Because we don't have a long break or anything in the upcoming schedule through January. It's pretty much, every other day from here for a while.
And he plays. He played 40 minutes the game before. Who did we play? Was that the Philly game? Whoever we played before Minnesota, he played 40 minutes.
Miami.
He played 40 minutes in that Miami game. And last night, obviously, was shorthanded. They was able to scale him back to 38, but Josh Hart played 42, 2.5 minutes. So, with the injuries, it's going to happen. So you got this compact schedule where the games are just coming at you. And then you have injuries, right? Where usually when there's injuries, most coaches will increase the minutes of the guys that are already in the rotation. Some may extend the rotation a little bit, but mostly the guys who are in it, the guys who can play. The guys, your better guys get more minutes. Jerrell, Kolek took what was given to him. Okay. Didn't think he was forcing it. But then somebody else said, let me see if I can get the comment. Y7 said, defenses give people shots they want them to take for a reason. Got to be smarter, right? So he took the shots that was given to him, but were they given to him on purpose?
Yeah. Well, I dare you to beat us, Tyler Kolek.
Right. Knick Nation felt that he stayed within the offensive scheme. We needed a player to help stop the bleeding at times, and he did what he could. We needed a vet to step up, and none did except Towns last night. Shots fired at Hart and Mikal Bridges, it seems like. He's a creator. He's supposed to be able to create easy shots for people. Last night, he didn't. What's your thoughts, Geoff?
I don't know. Again, I think it goes back to who were our shooters last night. Like, that's the thing. I mean, we had, Bridges was having a rough night from the field. So was Hart. And so, and the bench was non-existent. And so who else do you have other than Towns, right? And Towns was in foul trouble. So like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, well, yeah, he called his own number, but there weren't really a whole lot of other numbers to call. Like, if you want to say that Bridges should have shot more times, okay, I'm with you on that. I think that he should have, but other than that, like, do you want Hart putting up 25 shots? I don't think so. Towns got a lot. Towns was 14 of 24. So he did a really good job in and that's a good amount of field goal attempts for him. I would love to see him get 24 field goal attempts every game. Like, I think that would be ideal usage for Towns for me. But so yeah, I will agree. Two things can be true. I do think he probably shot the ball too much, but I don't think the alternatives for who else to shoot the ball were really there on this particular night. And OG absorbs more offense than you think he does, right? He takes more shots. Yeah. Like, he takes about 15 shots a game. You're talking about Brunson takes 20 shots a game. So that's 35 shots that need to go somewhere, right? And it just so happened most of them went in Kolek's direction because Bridges shot about what he normally does, and so did Hart.
Yeah. I'm listen. And Kolek was out of his role last night, right? We asked him to start against a very good Minnesota team, and overall, I thought he did well. I mean, yeah, we could talk about, did he shoot too much? Did it, like, over time, he'll find his balance. I'm not sure. Hopefully, he won't be in this position that many more times, because that means Brunson is injured or in foul trouble or resting. He'll find his, he'll find a balance over time. DopeSoulSports Rex, I'm not mad at this game. Ant had to put up 38 points to beat our young guys. And even with some starters putting up lackluster performance, I mean, 38 points is not a lot, in my opinion, for a guy like him.
Hyper efficient.
Told me
38 points, though. He was really efficient from the field. I mean, he did it from all three levels. He was, he wasn't great at the line. I guess he was only 4 of 6 at the charity stripe, I think. But he shot the 3-point at 4 of 10, I think, which is high 10, volume.
40%.
That's really
he takes
good.
about 10 a game. That's him now.
Yeah,
it's Ant now. He takes about 10 a game, and he got that last night. And Kolek doesn't get overcooked on defense. I love that. Overcooked. He might get a little cooked, but he doesn't get overcooked on defense. Oh boy. Okay. JJ Shamit will not be DMP in my opinion. His defense has been too solid and he's a shot maker. Okay. Luke Skywalker, Kolek will take Clarkson's spot. Okay. Wow. And JJ thinks Kolek should be situational. Wow, JJ. So talk to me about why you think he should be situational. Because he does bring, and I think Tony Crow brought up a point, and let me just say, which I think
salute to Tony Crow, the guy. Should be up on stage, probably.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Let's go. Knicks. Kolek is proving his worth. He provides things only Brunson does and some things no one does on this team. Right. So when you say he should be situational, I get it that he still has room to grow. But don't you think that his skill set is needed more so than Shamit, who you can argue has some overlap with Deuce, and some would say a lot of overlap with Deuce. I don't know. I think we can I think we can use another ball handler that's going to get you easy shots, and that's what he does. So just let me know, JJ, if you would like to, why you think he should be situational.
And you kind of hope that he takes the Deuce McBride shooting leap eventually, right? Because this is a guy who's known as a good shooter, who hasn't really shot the ball well at this level. So you kind of hope that when the dust settles, that he kind of enjoys a similar. He's not been as bad as Deuce was, I think, as in his rookie and sophomore campaigns. But if he could be on a similar story arc where he ends up being a really good 3-point shooter, that would definitely change the equation as far as his playing time also.
Yeah. I hear you, JJ. He doesn't see Shamit going from a starter to DMP. Mike Brown likes him a lot. So Kolek getting minutes, it's more than just us needing ball handler and easy shots. Is taking somebody Mike Brown likes a lot out of the rotation. We'll see. Maybe he just extends the rotation. We'll see. Bow. Kolek going to be in that trade. That's why they told him to show out. I mean, he has raised his value. I think now if the Knicks put Kolek in a deal, it won't be like, are you kidding me? But I'm not sure the Knicks would be looking to.
I think he's more likely to be put in a trade because he's showing that he has value, right? I'm not sure the Deuce McBride we saw before was, not Deuce McBride, the Tyler Kolek we saw before was someone that teams would even want to trade for. But now he's shown that he can do some stuff in the league, and these scouts pay attention to this stuff. They don't just scout college players; they scout around the league and say, "Is this guy maybe a diamond in the rough? Someone that maybe we can get and turn him into an Emmanuel Quickly type or something like that." You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's there, but
right. And I think the only reason. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, he's definitely improving his value as a player. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Which is another tough decision the Knicks have to make amongst many, right? Mitchell Robinson extension, McBride extension.
Well, Robinson didn't do a whole lot last night to
help his
help his cause.
But it's one game though.
In the season.
Yeah, but the games before, listen, nobody is gonna be great every single game. And that's why for me, I'm always I need a long runway before I start making opinions about, like, I need a long, I think we talked about on the weekly show, is he back? Did he turn the corner? Or is this just a good stretch for, Mitchell Robinson? We'll see. We'll see. Um Kolek had 11 rebounds. Breen said that both Shamet and Deuce are very close. That Shamet is very close to being back.
Oh, and
Okay.
Dorcasaurus, just for the record, Deuce McBride shot 25% on 3-point attempts in his rookie year, and he was 29.9% as a sophomore. And then in his third season, he jumped to 41%. Last year, he shot 36.9%, and this year he's at 44.4. So yeah, he was really bad. Low volume on attempts those first two seasons, just 1.7 and 2.1 shots per game. But Deuce was not a good shooter from the field in either of his first two seasons. In fact, the 2-point percentage was 37.5% as a rookie. So it jumped up to 45.1 effective field goal percentage. I'm talking about now in his second season, and now it's much better. So yeah, he definitely had a learning curve as far as shooting in the NBA.
Right. Dwayne Dennis, we're typical New York fans. A bench player has an okay game, and next thing the fans want to change everything around. It's ridiculous. Sometimes we're a bunch of bandwagon bandits. When you say change things around, you mean like talking trade, Is that what that's what you're talking about? Listen, does it matter whether you win a championship with your own or whether you traded for them? Right? We traded for OG. We traded for Brunson. We traded for Towns. Like, we're a championship contending team. And the only player on this team that there's a few players that we drafted, but I mean, in that core rotation is McBride and Mitch. Everybody, we traded for Hart as well. Right? So for me, it's about winning a championship. I don't care if we drafted you. I don't care if we signed you as a free agent. I don't care if we traded for you. It doesn't matter to me. And it's all about getting better. So if we draft a player and their value goes up, and the Knicks decide they want to cash that in for somebody that's better, or who they feel has a higher ceiling, or who they feel timing wise helps us now, I'm all for it. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Does it matter to you, Jeff, whether a player is homegrown or not? I know for some fans that's
not
a
one
big
bit.
deal.
I just want a championship. I don't care. I don't care how, as long as it's within the rules. I don't want to cheat to get it, but other than that, that's my only caveat. I don't care who's here. I just they haven't won in my lifetime, and I want to see one before I die, and I don't know how much time I got. So the sooner the better. I don't care who takes us there.
Yeah. Let me know in the chat whether if it matters to you whether the players are homegrown or not. I mean, for me, it matters that if you trade them in, or if you make a trade, that trade over time is a good one, right? There's no guarantees, obviously, but that's what I'm more concerned about. Like, okay, so if you're going to trade player A for somebody you think has a higher ceiling, did that trade work out? Or if you're going to trade this player for somebody who the timing is better, did you actually win the chip? You know what I mean? So, like, that's, to me, that's how I'm grading it. I like the OG cherry for Quickly and RJ, but some people may feel like they gave up too much, for OG, but I don't. Krim's dad was in the building early. I saw you. Appreciate you. Without Brunson, OG, and Deuce, we lost 9 out of 10 versus this Wolves team with whom played. I wasn't expecting a win and surprised others didn't. Kolek was okay, and Cat finally stepped up. Okay.
Jerrell.
Randle, my guy, but Cat is more talented and still has a higher trade value for sure. I'm gonna get to that comment. Or if you is it so what we're saying right now? If it is, you could put it up.
No, he just said he disagreed with me. He's willing to cheat a little.
Okay. Okay. Jamrock, I still think we need another big wing. And boy, was it glaring. We need another ball handler. Pay attention. Teams that give OKC problems are teams with good guards. Okay. So even with Kolek, we need another ball handler. I agree. I think there's only a few of us on the another ball handler bandwagon. Wiz, no regrets on the Cat trade. Yabusele would not have added anything to last night. We should trade him even for his own career and not do what we did to Fournier. Listen, in order to trade somebody, Wiz, you got to have somebody willing to trade for him.
Yeah. Do you want to attach an asset to Yabu to get rid of him? We don't have that many to begin with. I wouldn't think that you would want to do that. So you kind of just have to hope that he improves, or if he's part and parcel of a bigger package, like you're aggregating salary and coming up with a deal to get a rotation player, then that would be part of it too. But again, teams have to want him, and what has he done that says, oh yeah, I want that guy on my team right now? Like he just hasn't had that kind of a season.
Yeah, for sure. DopeSoulSports Rex, Mikal Bridges is human too. We got to be really careful with the load we put on our starters. The next upcoming stretch of the next 2 months or so, game every other day, tough road games too. Yeah, this might be the dog days of the NBA season, and let's see how the organization chooses to handle it. Will they still continue to load manage? We'll see. Old head, appreciate you for the win. Did Cat take the game off, air quotes, against Miami, conserving his energy for the Minnesota game?
Maybe.
It looks that way, but I don't know. I don't know. Chris Gotti, I'm not sure if this is your first time. If so, welcome. If not, welcome back. I think Cat fouled out on purpose for the 6th foul, but he needs to stop with the dumb fouls. The team needs his scoring since Bridges was a disappointment. Wow. Bridges is getting it today. Jerrell, we could have easily won that game. A couple key players had bad games, and we were shorthanded. I'm not scared of the Timberwolves at all. Yeah, I mean, I think Geoff mentioned that earlier. Like, we were shorthanded, and in order to win it, people would have had more than Cat. We needed more players to play at closer to their ceiling. Okay. Yeah, shout out to Kolek for almost getting a triple-double in his first career start. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Okay, this is where he answered my question on why he felt Kolek should be situational. Just because I think Shamet and Deuce are better than him. And Clarkson is a vet that can win you games. Okay, so just talking overall, not necessarily particular skill set need for the team. Okay, all right. All right. Some good back and forth between who should be situational. Out there. Okay. Anything else, Geoff? Anything not
Merry
talked about?
Knicks, everyone. We got a big game tomorrow. That's all we could. Let's shift our focus. Let's go beat up on the Cavs. Hopefully Jalen and OG are back. And
they will be.
And let's not ruin my Christmas by getting beat up by a Cavs team that has won 2 in a row, but has not been playing the best ball lately. So we got to take care of business on Christmas Day, and looking forward to it. This is schedule loss. whatever you want to call it. No, just pack it away. It's not that important. It's, I think if we were healthy, we win the game. So it is what it is. And you just have to move forward and go from there. And just everybody be safe. And one other thing, I know Christmas is not always a merry time for people. I mean, I know in California, they've got risk of floods. So Wiz, I hope you're safe, and I hope you don't lose your house and all that stuff, because it sounds like the weather in California is going to be really, really bad. So be safe. And for those of you who are just struggling, emotionally or mentally is a tough time for you, whatever, our prayers are with you, and we love you. And that's an important part. That's why we're the collective, right? This is a community. And so we want to reach out to all of those people and let you know that you have a safe space here and a place where your opinions are valued and you're cared about, and a community that treats you like family should treat people.
Yeah, well said, Geoff. Well said. Merry Christmas to all, and hopefully you're having a good time, over the holidays. And to Geoff's points, for those who don't, you're in our thoughts, you're in our prayers. Jerrell said he's not letting the Knicks stress him out. Tony Crow, definitely hit that like button. DJ Space Ghost, appreciate you. Joining us. I should be on Friday morning. Friday morning around 10 o'clock to recap the Cleveland game. Then we play again Saturday. I'll be back Sunday, 10 a.m. to recap the Atlanta game. And then Monday and Thursday next week, we'll be back in our regular spot. Geoff, enjoy the holidays with you and the fam. Jerrell, Ajay, and the rest of you. Until next time.
Sister, you're one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
You're